want to go to Congressman Mike Turner, the Ohio Republican, the House Intelligence Committee chairman. So much we don't know on the fate of those hostages, Congressman, but there is an effort to try to get at them and try to rescue them, but it's tough, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the stories are just heartbreaking, Neil. As you hear of the evil atrocities of the murderous terrorist attack that occurred by Hamas. As we look to this and supporting Israel and also looking to try to see what we can do to locate the hostages from Hamas, obviously we deconstruct and how did this happen and what do we need to do. And certainly, as your prior interview was indicating, the roads do lead to Iran. Hamas is a franchise from Iran. They train them, they arm them with rockets, with weapons. They train them to do terrorist attacks. So it's certainly no surprise to Iran when a terrorist organization, Hamas, a franchise, actually undertakes a terrorist attack on innocent Israeli civilians.
Congressman, I know you're as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, you're not able to share, nor should you, intelligence information. But I do know there's growing concern all over the world for this so-called global day of jihad tomorrow, Friday the 13th, and a lot of it spearheaded by a former Palestinian leader who is saying that this rally on behalf of Palestinians is to let the world know that they have been abused. And this is their chance, the world's chance, to speak up for Palestinians. What do you think of that?
Well, notice though, this is not some demonstration. This is not a send letters to world leaders. When they talk about jihad, they talk about going around the world and furthering their attacks on civilians in nations, in countries.
So you think this is
really
a trigger? You think this is a trigger event? That there's something more?
Well, they're certainly calling for it.
Yeah.
They're certainly calling for it. Now, I can tell you that our intelligence community is working diligently, as are our law enforcement, to root out and find ways in which there might be risks that we can stop and prevent. But a call like this is one that is just to broaden the terrorist attacks on innocent civilians. It is not an issue of raising awareness. This is not an awareness campaign. It's a terrorist campaign.
Indeed, Khalid Mashal, who served as the chief of Hamas from 2004 to 2017, and to your point, Congressman, he had said, I'm quoting here, I hope correctly, to all scholars who teach jihad, to all who teach and learn, this is a moment of the application, presumably of jihad. Now, this is planned again tomorrow, Friday the 13th, across the world. And some are going to seize on that to do
absolutely
what?
Right, and exactly. The call is for terrorist attacks, and some will answer this call. We're working diligently here to keep people safe. I'm both working with the intelligence community, the law enforcement community, try to find ways in which we might be vulnerable or individuals might be undertaking or planning attacks. But certainly all around the world, this call was, the focus here is innocent civilians, and that is the heart and the root of terrorism.
Congressman, while I have you here, too, I'd be remiss if we know what the criticism has been of this president, but Donald Trump had said yesterday in Florida that Hezbollah is very smart. He linked the Israel attack to the rigged U.S. election, that the attack wouldn't have happened if he were president. Also in a West Palm Beach speech, he repeatedly mentioned Barack Hussein Obama, said it several times. Without getting into the particulars of that, do you think that's the right tone to set at a time like this? He was also critical of Benjamin Netanyahu. What do you think of all of that?
Well, I think Donald Trump needs to answer for Donald Trump's own comments. But I will say that there is no question that as you look around the world, what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Israel, weakness begets conflict. And where people see an opportunity, where they're looking at ways in which to harm others, where they don't see a strong United States, they see opportunity. And that's really what we need to get back to. As I've traveled around and talked to intelligence communities, in each country, people are at this point calling out for U.S. leadership. They see that their communities are more vulnerable as the United States is less strong.
So by saying this in a powder keg environment, what's going on now, and as a former commander-in-chief, I guess what I'm asking, you're a House Intelligence Chief, and you were very select and cautious in the wording and responses you chose, as you should be. Do you think he was? And do you think that that is dangerous rhetoric?
Well, I don't think he ever is, right? But he needs to answer for his own comments, because they consistently people question the inflammatory nature of comments that he makes, and I think that he'll have to answer for that and respond to that as people evaluate them. But as we look to here as to what the United States' responsibility is, I think there is a responsibility for the United States to be strong and active and present, and that makes a difference. And when we show weakness, there's greater vulnerability around the world, and that's what we need to rise against, is United States weakness, so that we can show a strong United States supporting our allies and against our adversaries.
Chairman, I want to thank you very much for taking the time. Always good seeing you.